How's it going, everyone, and welcome to No Fun Allowed. Today we'll be embarking on an epic journey of a How to GM series. I don't know how long this is going to be, but I have already planned out dozens of episodes. But as you might very well know, that this very first starting one is going to be a very interesting topic here. Of course, we're going to be covering how to be a game master, but before then, I want to go over something very important. I want to go over how to not be a game master. I want to go over the things that you shouldn't do. And then we'll be diving into very specific things on how to game master. We'll be talking about running the game. We'll be talking about the things we should say, the things we should do, the things we should learn. But for this first video here, I wanted to go over how to not game master. The first thing on my list here on how to not be a game master is refusing to learn the game. So of course, as game masters, we have to know the game that we're playing. We show up to a game and we're going to be playing anywhere between 2 hours to 4 hours on average, once a week. We want to play during that time. If you are spending that time learning the game in the process, that sucks. It sucks showing up to a session and then spending a good 30 minutes of it poring over some rules. That's just a waste of time. It's not fun. It's not memorable. And it just is going to be pointless, really. Whatever system that you're running, you need to pour over it. Mind you don't have to know all the rules. You don't have to know the very niche things. You don't have to categorize the entire book by hand. No, you don't. But you need to have a ground basis on how to actually run the game. And of course, if you're going to be touching on certain themes, you should know how they work. If you know for a fact your players are about to go underwater, you need to start learning how underwater works. You need to learn how much they can breathe. You need to learn how fighting works underwater. You need to learn what happens if they fall unconscious underwater. You need to know these things. And of course, that is just a very niche scenario. It is very likely your players are going to throw curveballs at you, and that's fine. That is what they're going to do. That's part of the enjoyment of this game, that we don't know what is going to happen. So yes, they are going to do some things that you haven't fully well prepared for yet, and that's fine. But instead of sitting there spending the next 20 minutes trying to find exactly what it is on a book or typing it into Google or whatever the case may be, just go ahead and hand wave some stuff. It's okay to do so. You can always go ahead and explain to your players later, hey, I didn't have the rules memorized. Next time we run it, we're going to run it as is. Or hey, maybe you liked your own ruling so much on the spur of the moment that you go ahead and just keep it like that. That's awesome. Number 2 on the list here is refuse to listen or to ask for feedback. So your players constantly show up to the table and play a game, but more often than not, if you don't ask them what's going on, they're not going to tell you. They might say, good game, that was fun, but that's it. You definitely need to go ahead and ask them to elaborate on what they liked. You need to ask them what they like, but most important of all, you need to ask what they don't like. If they say that was a fun session, and then you ask them, hey, what was great about it? Then they'll say, yeah, I like that part, and that's that. But if there's a part of it they didn't like, and you keep on repeating that same mistake, that's going to wear and tear on them. They might feel uncomfortable trying to bring up certain topics because they think that it's going to hurt your feelings, or they may think that other people are enjoying it, but that needs to be transparent. You need to ask them what they are liking, and most important of all, what they aren't liking, so you can go ahead and change it up. And the flip side of this is listening. There is plenty of times where your players will speak up and say things. They'll say the things that they like and the things that they don't like. And if you refuse to acknowledge that, that's going to suck. Of course, they might say that they like certain things that you personally don't like. And of course, they might say they don't like certain things that you thought were enjoyable. And if you go ahead and butt heads on that, that's not going to be good. We are running these games for our players' enjoyment as well as our own. And yes, it is important to come to a concession about what you should come out of the game, but that ties into it. You need to know what they like, and you need to be apparent with what you like. And if you are not communicating that, that is just not going to be a fun time. Number 3, doesn't consume other media. You should be drawing upon stories that you've seen before. You should be drawing upon what other GMs are talking about in their games. You should be emulating the things that you like and avoiding the things you don't like. But if you don't consume any other media at all, you don't watch any movies, you don't read any books, you don't play any games, you don't do any of these things, then you have nothing to compare it to. And that sucks. There is a reason why thousands of years later, we are still learning about the Greek pantheons and the Iliad and the Odyssey and all those things. Those are amazing tales. Use them. Consume other media, watch TV shows, talk to other people, figure out what you like from all these mediums and what you don't like from these mediums. And you can compare and contrast, and that is an amazing thing to do. If you have nothing to compare yourself with, you can't size yourself up in any regard at all. Number 4 here just does the same thing. If you become predictable, then unfortunately it's game over. If your players know your design philosophy, if they know for a fact that there's always going to be a trap around this corner, if they always know how to handle a roleplay situation, if they know for a fact that they can always win a fight a certain way, then what's the point? If they already know what the outcome's going to be, then there really is no point in having a situation arise at all. You need to shake things up. You need to go ahead and flip the world on its head every once in a while to go ahead and keep them guessing. Now, of course, this can be done with very minor changes or it can be done with very drastic changes, but change needs to be present in your game. You need to constantly keep your players guessing, and you need to constantly be pushing yourself forward to making the game enjoyable and unpredictable. And for number 5, fifth one on the list here for today, is doesn't learn to have fun. Of course, we sit down and pick up any one of these role-playing systems and we pour over these rules, we figure out how to build these worlds, we figure out how to present these scenarios to our players. But at the end of the day, the reason why people are showing up outside of their own free time is because they want to have fun. And that is a very important aspect to you. You as the game master have a dual responsibility of not only making this game, but also doing a whole bunch of stuff outside of the game. And of course, that is a burden to bear. That burden can be a serious toll on a lot of people. And if you forget the whole process of having fun, then it is going to seriously bog you down and it's probably going to cause you to quit. As soon as you sit down to prep your adventure or you show up to the game session and you think to yourself, man, what a chore this is, then you already know it's over. You already know that you are not going to be in for a fun time. And I promise you, if you show up with that mentality of you're not going to have fun, then it is going to bleed out onto your players and they are not going to have fun as well. Of course, having fun means so many different things to so many different people, but it's more so along the lines of if you just show up and play the game as is, then you should probably be in for a great time, especially if you're hanging out with your friends. Don't get hung up on little rules. Don't get hung up on the small things. Just keep the pace going, keep laughing and joking along the way, create these awesome tense scenes that your players will come to know and love and talk about for years to come, and then that is truly how you become a game master. And there you go, that's the start of my How to GM series here, how to not be a game master. In future videos, we'll be taking a dive into how to actually be a game master, and we'll be diving into specific topics along the lines on how to run the game. That is going to do it for me for this video, though. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all my lovely patrons up here. You guys are incredible. And if you want to stay tuned in for more, then go ahead and subscribe, because I have a lot more coming, I promise you. So go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, tell me all about what you think about this, and I cannot wait to see you all in the next one.